So, Eliott, so happy to be here, Eliott and Bree, for being part of this discussion. And I'm Vivek. I'm the executive director and co-founder of Polkadex. And I am a computer engineer myself, and I've been into Bitcoin space since 2013. I was a hobby miner, and got hooked in the Bitcoin and white paper. And ever since, I've been working very closely with the Bitcoin ecosystem and tried to introduce certain ideas which I had in mind for a long time. And I tried to create a new improvement protocol for BitShares. It was one of the earliest decentralized exchanges at that time. And it was, introduced as BSIP 57, enabling people for holding, a vested ballot concept where you give delegated authority to a central third party to, high frequency transactions. So that's been my first attempt at meddling with some of or introducing certain things which I feel was beneficial for the system industry as a whole. And in 2019, late 19, Gautam, me, and our co-founders of Polkadex got together and started working on the initial seed idea of Polkadex and the decentralized exchange that will allow people to mainstream users to come and adopt it as day-to-day trading and day trading and everything, and create a user interface which is far more easier than the decentralized exchanges that you see today, by making it more traditional, like with the order book and the high frequency trading with the bots. And that's the idea that came about in Polkadex. And here we are today. I think we are close to launching our mainnet, and happy to be talking to you. Yes. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you for introducing yourself. Bree?
Can you hear me now?
Yep. I do.
Sorry for the noise and everything and trouble. So hi everyone, this is Bree from Darwinia. And Darwinia is a bridge chain built on Substrate. Darwinia is a Web3 cross-chain bridge hub. The community said we're like the Golden Gate Bridge connecting Polkadot and external networks. We provide the safest and heterogeneous cross-chain solutions connecting Polkadot, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and different blockchain networks. And what the community cares the most is that what are some cross-chain bridge use cases? Actually, it would cover several areas, including DeFi, NFT, blockchain gaming, and the really trending metaverse. And Darwinia has kicked off the project since 2018, and we have been written in the Polkadot Light paper as one of the friends of Polkadot and Substrate. We also have joined Substrate Builders Program, and tours and projects developed by Darwinia have won 3 Web3 Foundation grants. So we're keep developing our Substrate and contribute to the Polkadot ecosystem and the Web3 future. Thanks.
No, yes. Well, thank you guys for joining us today, and for presenting yourself. And as you all know, the topic for this, I would say, presentation and panel today is about the different strategies that one can use to launch, bootstrap, kickstart, or fund its own Substrate project. And so I would like to have you guys go separately and present the different strategies you opted for. Did you launch a token? Are you waiting for a Parachain launch maybe? Do you have something else on the side, etc., etc.? So, if one of you guys want to go first, please go ahead.
Bree, you can start, no problem. Please.
Okay.
Okay, she's on mute. Fine, no problem. Okay.
Sorry.
All right, Bree.
So Darwinia as a bridge chain. So before the Parachain launch, way back since like 2018, so we have issued our ERC-20 version of Rain first for several reasons. Number one, so we kicked off a cross-chain game called Evolution Land in 2018. And the game has 26 different continents, and each continent is deployed on different blockchain networks. The first continent was deployed on Ethereum. And Rain is a native token of the game for users to purchase NFT land, NFT mining puzzles, and other game assets. So have issued ERC-20 version of Rain. Users and players would be able to buy Rain in the bank of the game called Gringotts. It's a name from Harry Potter, and started to explore the NFT metaverse evolution land. And then the second reason is that Darwinia has been one of the first team paid attention to this DeFi since 2018. So the game bank Gringotts was first connected to Banker because Uniswap has launched yet, and then Uniswap. So all of our community fans want to like trade ERC-20 tokens of Rain by connecting to Uniswap within the game. And something interesting and surprising is that all of our community fans got the Uni airdrop in 2020. It was a big surprise back then. And finally, for the Parachain auction, so Darwinia participates in the auction basically for empowering the whole Polkadot ecosystem for more Polkadot projects. They don't have to build bridges on their own to repeat building walls, but focusing on their own business, customized blockchain projects, not to worry about infrastructure like cross-chain bridge, which is critical to facilitate those applications of Polkadot in Web3 future. So Darwinia has also can run in a solo mode. For now, the Parachain ecosystem hasn't been launched yet, so because we're still trying to win a Parachain slot, but a lot of projects have urgent like requirements or needs to get connected to Ethereum and external networks. So Darwinia can run in a solo mode and provide cross-chain service for this project. For now, a lot of projects, both Polkadot projects and Ethereum projects, have announced partnership with us to integrate Darwinia cross-chain bridge to expand their multi-chain asset circulation and integrate their users on different blockchain networks, both Ethereum and Polkadot. And Rain would be the guest for implementing our cross-chain bridge as well. So having issued an ERC-20 version of Rain is definitely going to facilitate those Ethereum projects to integrate the Darwinia bridge. And finally, for the Parachain auction, we're now participating in the Kusama Parachain auction, and we offered token and NFT rewards, plus lot boxes with the super BTC prize embedded in the NFT land. Thanks.
Love it. Wow. And Vivek, like, what did you guys do? Did you also launch an ERC-20 token before, or are you waiting a bit?
Yes, Eliott. No, we have launched our ERC-20, and just like Darwinia, like for example, if you look at Polkadex as a project, right? It started off with the Web3 grant, and we were very much into the Web3 ecosystem from the beginning. So it is not easy to ignore the ecosystem as together, right? It has both Ethereum and Polkadot together that forms the, you can't just separate Polkadot ecosystem from Web3 values. So when we started off, it wasn't our intention to go for an ERC-20 offering. We did not rely on that form of fundraise initially because the focus was definitely to create this product and that would actually have its own solo chain and then connect as a bridge to the Polkadot ecosystem through Parachain. So the first phase of fundraise was specifically for institutional investors. So the reason why most of the projects have a problem with going directly for an ERC-20 is due to the regulations that have set in after 2017-18, after the ICO boom, right? So there's a lot of legal hurdles a small project has to undergo before they offer an ERC-20 token. From our side, we had to do that due diligence, and we had to do it because of two reasons. One, any blockchain project out there, ultimately, what you actually try to bring together is consensus and security, right, to the network. So based on basic principles of game theory, you need to have self-interested parties coming together for a strategic interest. And that, we believe, needs to happen from a very early stage. And it is very good if you have a community that is, with its own interest, participating in different ways, which will allow for a smooth transition when we actually try to secure the network in a future when we do that, when we launch our Parachain and if necessary, the solo chain that needs to be secured as part of building this application. So that is the reason why we opened up an ERC-20 token. And also another factor is that you are giving an opportunity for early investors to be liquid, and make sure that you're actually getting rid of any weak hands in the system, and secure the network better when you actually launch it on your mainnet. And so these are a couple of important reasons why we decided to go for the ERC-20 launch before our Substrate mainnet.
Interesting. So both of you guys actually launched some kind of ERC-20 or ERC-20-like token before, early on in the history of your project, which seems to be the case actually for quite a few Polkadot-based projects, which may make sense too, because I guess we're all about interoperable blockchains and everything. So why would you be a maximalist on one chain, except if it's yours, obviously? So I'm a bit curious. Maybe we can dive in a bit into how did the community feel about that? How easy was it to raise funds with you guys' strategies? Because I do have experience with projects not launching an ERC-20 token before and just doing a normal fundraise. But I would be curious to know what happened for you guys. And actually, did you? So I think Vivek, you went through that with Polkadex, but Bree for Darwinia. Did you guys also do a fundraise, a private fundraise, equity fundraise, or something like that before the ERC-20, or was the ERC-20 token your main? I should not say that, but investment vehicle?
Yeah, for Polkadex, at least it wasn't, an investment round. I mean, we were not directly going for ERC-20 in the beginning, because of all the reasons which I mentioned earlier, which is that it's kind of very risky to actually open up a project to retail investors in the beginning, right? So it makes sense to actually have institutional investors with you when you start out to build a product, who we can leverage, because initial stage you just don't need. It is not just cash that you need. You need support in various ways, right? You need to have good connections, and you need to have introduction to the right parties and teams and the collaborations that we need as we build this, right? So that's the reason why we focus on institutional investors. And once we secured enough funds to build out the product, as part of decentralization, we decided to launch an ERC-20, and that is hardly 2% of our supply right now. And we were expecting that some of the institutional investors would offload their tokens and make it more decentralized, but it has not happened for good reasons also, because they believe in the project. But eventually, we feel that early, if you try to, distribute tokens, at least slowly in the beginning, it will help with more participation and, better distribution of token.
So for us, for Darwinia, we did our fundraising with ERC-20 tokens, ERC-20 version of Rains. So after the launch of Darwinia mainnet, there were several problems, but we did solve that with Darwinia Ethereum Bridge. Because at first, our early investors, they hold ERC-20 versions of Rains, and they would like to trade them on some Ethereum DEX or Ethereum SEX. But for the Rains staking, it is on Darwinia mainnet. So back then, in the evolution land game, so users basically buy ERC-20 versions of in the game bank called Grain Gods. It's pretty easy. And after the mainnet launch, we moved the staking and DeFi mining features all to our Darwinia mainnet. So After the open of Darwinia Ethereum bridge, users are able to freely move their Ethereum version of Rings to Darwinia mainnet through a kind of application called Wormhole, cross-chain Wormhole, and participate in staking. And for the DeFi mining, basically users can stake our native token Rings to mine our commitment token called Katon. And also this was done before in Evolution Land game. For now, it is on Darwinia mainnet through Darwinia Ethereum bridge. So actually, it's kind of a problem. It's kind of tricky to integrate different assets on different blockchains, but leveraged by Darwinia cross-chain bridge, our problem solved.
And did you guys have any issues or questions around what would it take actually to do almost a migration or bridging work for your separate projects? Because obviously, if you guys have an ERC-20 token, but you launch your own chain or parachain, there's indeed a bit of work that needs to be done before people can make the tokens go between the two chains. And so, Bree just mentioned the bridge from Darwinia. I'm also interested in your point of view, Vivek, on that, because I don't think you guys have a live chain yet.
No, we don't have
shooting for a parachain. But like, did you guys already consider that? Is that something that you are not scared of, but thinking of, and it's going to be an interesting piece of work? Or what's up on that side?
Yeah, the advantage of not going with an ERC-20 initially is definitely that don't have to worry about migrating these tokens, which are in ERC-20 now. When you go for the mainnet, you have lesser problems to deal with, right? Yeah. But then we have thought through this. We have considered the option of moving these ERC-20 tokens once the mainnet launches. So our mainnet is set to, planned for launch in September, and the first action as part of the mainnet launch would be the migration of these ERC-20 tokens in the Ethereum chain to our mainnet. And that is a one-way migration where users will have to, basically it's a burning process. You basically burn those tokens and get your original PDEX tokens issued on the mainnet as a substrate token. So we are trying to make it as seamless as possible for the users by minimizing the steps and making it very simple and easy. I had tweeted it a few days ago that what we're trying to do, we're trying to build out a light client system where it's easier for people to simply, relay those transactions and have those, transaction hashes picked up by the light client, and they will be making sure that these new substrate-based tokens are minted in the new chain. So it's going to be very seamless, and we are planning to do that as the first activity that as part of the mainnet launch in September. It is ready and it will undergo audit. The code is actually undergoing audit starting July 1st. We had a discussion with our audit team yesterday. So once it goes through this month, we should be ready with the PDEX migration next month.
And I would like to feed more on that, because a lot of projects of Polkadot, not just Darwinia, have got a problem of migrate their assets on different blockchains. So I have to mention that Darwinia cross-chain bridge not only supports Darwinia native assets like Ring and Katons, we support all ERC-20 versions of assets and ERC-721, ERC-1155 NFTs as well. So a lot of our Polkadot friends like say Crust, Fala, they did the same like Darwinia. They issued their ERC-20 version of tokens first, and then they launched their mainnet, and they have got their Polkadot version of assets. They have to migrate and match them together. So they have announced partnership with Darwinia to leverage our bridge to help them migrate their Polkadot and Ethereum versions of assets. They don't have to build the infrastructure themselves, and they're going to focus on their own business, like say decentralized cloud, decentralized storage, and confidential computing. Yeah, so it's kind of Yeah, so it's kind
That's
of
good to hear.
Darwinia why we're building a parachain for the ecosystem. That's why we're trying to help more Polkadot projects. And Darwinia virtual machine is now also live on our canary network called Crab. So because it is completely compatible with Ethereum virtual machine, so it would be easier to manage those cross-chain mapped assets from Ethereum to Polkadot.
Amazing. Yeah. So that was going to be my next question, but you know, it seems like you looked at the same thing at the same time, which was that, you know, once Parachains like you, Darwinia, you know, competitors are online, it will be possible for Parachains to not have to indeed, you know, build their own bridge or own burning system or own, you know, wormhole system, and just rely on you guys to provide that as a service via the XCM something protocol, I guess. Which, hey, is pretty cool. Like, I know that for Nodle, when we switched from Stellar to Polkadot, we had to build a centralized way for people to burn their tokens and then, you know, recreate them on the Substrate chain.
It's actually very good because, you know, obviously, you know, projects are not actually focused on migrating these tokens. That's not their primary, that should not be their primary focus area. So if you're able to help those projects to, you know, focus on the specific logic on their main chain and, you know, move some of these headaches to another, you know, system, it's very good to have. Yeah. It's nice. I mean, I never knew that you had this as a service.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like, and if you know, are you guys? Is any of you guys already listed on a centralized exchange?
Yeah.
We are listed.
Yeah. And so in that case, I'm actually curious. I know that's not one of the questions we prepared or anything, but like, how do you see the relationship with these guys evolve? Because, for instance, you know, for Polkadex, you're mentioning that you're going to burn the ERC-20. So you obviously need to use your contacts in the centralized exchange so that they are going to support your migration. And Bree, I mean, I guess your situation is a bit more different since you guys are being like a multi-chain token. So you're not really asking people to switch to a new version of the token. So I guess here it's a bit more easy in terms of relationship with the exchanges. But still, like, what was your experience with the centralized exchanges for both of you guys?
Centralized exchanges.
Yeah, yeah, because DEXs are like, you know, it's permissionless. Like, people can, you know, add and remove their tokens there. But for a centralized exchange, like we had, I know that some Ethereum-based projects try to upgrade their token and make, you know, a token version 2, and they had to ask the exchanges to support that migration for them. Otherwise, you know, you would end up with 2 different markets within 2 different tokens, which is not what you want.
Yeah. So from my experience, that because we have got 2 networks, Darwinia mainnet and our canary network Crab, and both have listed on SEX. So I would like to share some of our experiences with SEX and how do they support us. For example, our native token ring has listed on like dozens of exchanges. Because it is ERC-20 token on these SEX first. So when users would like to participate in mainnet staking, I just mentioned, they have to cross-chain transfer their tokens from these SEX to Darwinia mainnet through our wormhole portal. They have to first move their tokens to an Ethereum wallet, and then via the wormhole, and then Darwinia mainnet, and then staking. It's pretty difficult and a bit challenging for some users without certain crypto space experience. But for our canary network, we listed the Substrate version of C-Ring, the native token of Crab on SEX. So that would be much better. So when they have to participate in staking, users just put in they just move their tokens from SEX to Darwinia mainnet. No more Ethereum wallet. So once that cut, it would be much easier for them to kind of reduce the threshold for them to participate in the staking. Yeah, that's some experience we had with SEX. and different versions, 2 different versions of tokens. Yeah.
Nice.
So right now, do you have the old tokens in circulation, or have all of these tokens been migrated over?
We still have 2 versions of tokens.
Yeah,
because you guys are multi-chain. Like you
Right,
want
exactly.
an ERC-20, you want a Substrate token, and you want a
Yeah.
Kusama
And
Para
I want to
token.
share some of my interesting experience. So once I have to move my rings from Darwinia mainnet to SEX for trading, right? And there is a hint in red that I do for reminding users not to put in SEX address to receive tokens on Ethereum. You have to first put your Ethereum wallet address to receive your tokens on Ethereum. But one time I just mistaking the whole process and I put in the SEX address on Ethereum. I'm so worried about I cannot get my tokens back. But these SEX actually provide really good tech support for us. We can definitely charge our tokens to the SEX through smart contract. Yeah, so that time I finally got my tokens on Ethereum because of the good tech support of this SEX. Yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think it should be pretty straightforward in my opinion if the logic is to completely eliminate, because otherwise you have to maintain 2 tokens trading, right? So ideally, I think first we have to stop the trading and allow the users to withdraw their tokens and upgrade the the infrastructure on the centralized exchanges so that they are no longer able to trade with the older ones, and allow, or they can probably do it in Uniswap, but in open protocols, but allowing them a very seamless way to transfer those tokens from the their MetaMask wallet or whichever Ethereum wallet they have to the Substrate wallet using, that's a good name, wormhole or whatever. So make sure that it's burned, and they can just come over and in one shot, once everything is on the Substrate and the centralized exchanges have also upgraded their system, I think that it becomes easier and there'll be lesser and lesser people utilizing those tokens, right? So maybe that's
so
something
I guess
about very soon.
So I guess you guys are going to need to rely on your contacts with the centralized exchanges, so that they somehow press a button and suddenly switch their infrastructure and convert their users' tokens to you guys' tokens, basically. I guess in your case,
the more it's tradable outside on the systems available, people will be reluctant to bring it back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Basically, yeah. Gaming.
Yeah, that's tricky. Cool. Very cool. But I guess also in your case, like that's not really a wormhole. That's more like a black hole, because it's one way.
Yep.
While for Bree, it's like 2 ways. Like I guess you can go back and forth between Ethereum and the main chain. Okay.
Yeah, we don't allow that. I mean, if you allow that, it's going to be a big mess after some time. We're just going to have one-way migration.
Yeah. Actually, I do have one more questions for you guys, because you do have, at the end, you have 2 very different designs. Like Bree at Darwinia, you guys focused on really being multi-chain, and Vivek at Polkadex, you focused on being on one chain and then switching to your chain. I know we cannot touch base on that kind of at the beginning, but can you guys let us know what motivated that decision? Like, for instance, why Vivek are you guys not multi-chain, and why Bree are you guys multi-chain and not just Darwinia chain based and then maybe having a wrap token version somewhere or something like that?
Of course, we are multi-chain because we cannot exist as an exchange without being connected.
Right.
Right. So interoperability and cross-chain bridges are it's an inherent part of the architecture that we're building. So we can make use of the other systems in place, and we can always bridge through Ethereum using there are already production ready sort of bridges available for Ethereum. And then we of course have the Polkadot Parachain ecosystem, right, through which you can actually try and bridge liquidity from there. So that's a short way of actually trying and get connected to the overall system, right? But apart from that, it's very important that as an exchange, we become a junction point for anyone to actually bring in liquidity, because unless you open up the gates or to people who wants to come in and trade their assets, you simply cannot create a business model on top of it, right? So rather than just being a protocol, we also have an application running on top of it, right? That derives value from this underlying infrastructure. So we are investing a lot on R&D for creating native bridges to other other chains. And we are experimenting with certain things, probably we'll have a release on that in another couple of months. And yeah, I think it's very similar, and we want to make it as seamless as possible for the user, because the primary vision of Polkadex is always been to have that mainstream user who is just trading on centralized exchange to come and trade here. So you cannot put him through these multiple hops that you see in cross-chain bridges that you see today, right? You have to first buy the token of another chain, and then you have to move the tokens to that chain, and from there you actually move it. So it's basically creating more hurdles for the user. So if you look at a trader's point of view, if you want to trade, you don't want to go through all this. Even if you're a purist, end of the day, if you want to make profit, you are not really going to go through all this pain, right? So that is something we are taking very seriously, and we are trying to bring very native experience, just like how you would in one click, how we can get those assets into the system, right? So once that is possible, I think we can actually match the kind of experience that a centralized exchange is able to give. So we are putting a lot of R&D on that, and we have made some fantastic breakthroughs. I think I'm not giving it out right now, and we'll have very detailed paper published probably in a couple of months. By the time the mainnet is ready, we should be ready with that. So interoperability and cross-chain systems we don't publicize that in a big way because it's understood, right? It's not something that, because it's there on the website. Interoperability is a must for Polkadex. Without that, we cannot do why, because liquidity is everything for an exchange. So, yeah.
Okay. I like it. And Bree?
Yeah. So definitely most projects are going to be multi-chains. So I guess something matters is which primary layer are you going to choose to first issue your tokens? Ethereum, ERC-20 token, or Substrate version of token. So I guess it's critical to consider several factors, like say number one, community and application ecosystems, and number two, tech infrastructure and token standards. And number three, if tokens are able to freely cross-chain flow across different chains from this start point. So for Ethereum, it has the most flourishing ecosystem and strong community awareness. And EVM infrastructure is great. It's powerful to empower the ease of issuing ERC-20 tokens. And ERC-20 token standard has got strong community consensus. And plus, Ethereum has captured the most traffic of the crypto world, right? So it's definitely a reasonable decision to issue the ERC-20 token first to win more community support at the beginning. But I agree with those speakers for today. The Web3 future is definitely multi-chain. So the primary layer of DeFi NFT projects would definitely shift from Ethereum to Polkadot. And issuing tokens on Polkadot, like say on Statement, free the token great potentials to freely flow first across Parachain systems and then external networks. So plus leverage Darwinia bridge, these tokens are able to expand to different blockchains ecosystem without much tech problems. For Darwinia, like just mentioned, we're going to support both ERC-20 token and new Polkadot token standards and provide something called adapter of different token standards and seamlessly cross-chain token transfer experience. So our smart contract solution, Darwinia Virtual Machine, is compatible with Ethereum Virtual Machine, right? So as a Web3 cross-chain bridge hub, this would help us better manage different cross-chain mapped assets as well. So it would be, I guess it would be perfect to first issue tokens on Polkadot and leverage Darwinia cross-chain bridge to expand to more chains. So it's like a token of our projects, it's gonna kick off is something like adventure to the multi-chain Web3 crypto world. So sailing from Polkadot with more interoperability and scalability leveraging Darwinia cross-chain bridge to still capture traffic of other chains would be a better choice than just stealing from the single chain Ethereum. Yeah.
Very good. Well, maybe on those good words, maybe we should start heading towards a conclusion. So do you guys have any closing words for us, or anything you would like to let the audience know? And something?
Yeah, I think what Brent just mentioned about the helping out new projects to launch their tokens using we're not having to re-engineer the whole effort that each project is actually dedicated on, focused on, is a great way to speed up the adoption of the Polkadot ecosystem, right? So if there are so many projects actually focused on bringing liquidity, so if they can talk to each other and enable the new projects to get access to this liquidity without re-engineering many of the cross-chain difficulty they have for bridging with other systems, it's a short way to actually speed up the ecosystem. And from Polkadex's point of view, we have also been trying to come up with a way to help newer projects, because we ourselves had our own set of issues when we launched tokens on ERC-20, and we came to know that many of the systems right now we have on Ethereum are still very, very manually processed, right? It's still not very automated. So we wanted to create a system in Substrate which will help new projects to, fundraise through an IDO, just like we have on Ethereum. We can have the same system on Substrate. It's natively on Rust, which makes it more efficient and on-chain. And many of the problems that we could identify during our fundraise was considered for designing that platform. So that is also going to be live very soon, next month. I mean, this month we are doing the testnet, so you can see how the system operates and works. But that is part of the one of the system that we are going to roll out to help Substrate-based tokens to have their IDO and then mature into a full-fledged listing on Polkadex. So it's like an A to Z of your life cycle. They start fundraising and then you end up on an exchange. And from there, they're able to take those tokens outside and get listed on other places if they want to. So that's why the bridges that we build to the main chains like Ethereum, and that's going to help. So it's going to be a concerted effort with all of these projects, coming together and sharing their work and try and help newer projects to focus on their application logic rather than making a specific, say, parachain as their end goal, right? I mean, you definitely need to have a logic on your chain to sustain your value over time. There's no point having a chain, and then you find your value to in that parachain for a long time, years, right? So it's very important that it works together as a team.
I love it.
Yeah.
Bree, any closing?
Yeah. I guess it's time to wrap up. And some key takeaways I would like to share with the audience is that first, Darwinia is trying to provide infrastructure support for users and projects to manage, migrate their multi-chain assets. And then take a cross-chain bridge as an example is for the DeFi use case. We know that different projects are actually doing exactly the same thing, but just on different chains, like the Akela on Polkadot, Maker on Ethereum, Kava on Cosmos. And I guess why they're able to do the same things on different chains just because they are like physical isolations among different chains. We cannot use Polkadot ecosystem assets to participate in Binance Smart Chain DeFi projects or use Ether to participate in Polkadot's DeFi projects. Users can't enjoy their investment freedom. And I guess cross-chain bridge have to exactly move these physical isolations to trigger healthier and broader market competition, and users are able to invest their assets to multi-chain projects. And finally, we'll see if value will still converge to Ethereum or have a paradigm shift to Polkadot ecosystem. That's why we're building Web3 bridges for both Ethereum, Polkadot, and other blockchain ecosystems.
And I love it as well.
Really good.
Well, thank you, both of you guys, for joining us today, for exposing your thoughts. And I look forward to connecting separately with you both as well, off-chain, because, you know, things may be interesting. But separately from that, also thanks for the audience for joining us today. And looking forward to more events like that.
Great. Glad to connect with you guys for today. Looking forward for our further cooperation. Yeah.
Awesome. See you.
Thank you very much, Bree.